Sin City. Saturday night. Fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world. When combat sports shines brightest on the Las Vegas Strip. Boxing and mixed martial arts need some new voices. And Franchise Sports Media got them for you. Join Kalani Lua and Griffin Kemp each week as they bring you news and hot takes from inside the octagon and the ring. Get your popcorn ready. It's showtime. FSM's main event starts right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm your host, Kalani Lua.
I'm Griffin Kemp.
We got a special guest in the house tonight with us, Biaggo Ali Walsh, ladies and gentlemen. Let him hear it.
Let's go, baby.
How you going? How's it going, guys? Thank you.
It's going good, man.
Now, forgive me. Biaggo, really nice name. Walsh, strong name. Ali.
Yeah.
Combat sports.
Yeah,
Kind of rings a bell a little bit.
absolutely.
How is that?
Oh man, I had the pressure since people really found out early high school. Yeah, it's a great journey, man. Obviously I have a lot of pressure just because of my name, but I believe pressure makes diamonds, and how you deal with the pressure is what's most important. So, yeah, it's great. You know, he's been a superhero to me my whole life, and he's a huge inspiration, not just as a fighter, but as a person.
Absolutely.
And it's awesome.
Now, just out of curiosity, before I kick it over to my co-host, you said it was up until high school. Were you trying to keep that to yourself as long as you could? Like, nah, if you could, just call me Walsh.
Yeah.
Or was it like, no, when I get to a certain point, you guys need to know who I am and where I come from? Or how was that?
Yeah, it was always a secret growing up.
Got you.
You know, even in like elementary school, like if somebody found out, I would look at them like, who told you? You know, so the only people that kind of knew who I was related to was like my closest friends in elementary school, who are still my closest friends to this day.
Wow.
If they came over, they'd see a whole bunch of like Muhammad Ali memorabilia and stuff. And that's kind of how you knew when I was a little kid. You know, when I got to Bishop Gorman and played freshman football, Max Preps came out with this huge article, and still to this day, I don't know how they found out. You know, I'm assuming word around the campfire just spread like wildfire. So, they found out, you know, and then since then, about when I was 15 years old, it just kind of blew up in the media who I was related to, and it's a great opportunity. You know, obviously, like I said, more pressure, but growing up, it was always a secret. I never really cared to, I never go around telling people who I am, because one, that's not who I am, and two, they won't believe me.
No, exactly. The Gales always know. Go ahead, Griff.
The Gales always know, don't they?
Yeah,
Man,
absolutely.
A little bit of beef with Bishop Gorman, but we'll keep that to the side. Like you said, the pressure of having a relative who's that big of an icon in the world of combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
Him being the great, iconic boxer that he was. Is there, as you're going along, and obviously you weren't trying to spread around, your relatives and who you were, really, but when it comes to when you started to get into fighting, when you really started training, was there anything that you went back, whether it was film study, whether it was talking to people who were around him and trained with him, or anything where you kind of took tidbits of how he prepared, how he trained, and did you put that into yourself and use that to become the better fighter?
Of course, my grandfather worked really hard. You know, if you look at old school boxers, a lot of what they did was run. They would spar. They would chop trees. Seeing what he did up in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, because he had a camp up there and he built like a gym up there. That's kind of old school training is kind of what I try to take into fighting.
Yeah.
I don't really do too much strength and conditioning. Most of my strength and conditioning is sparring, doing as many rounds of sparring, and wrestling and grappling. That's where the real strength comes in. So, and it's in sport training as well. So, as far as how he trained, that I try to take that old school kind of mentality into my training. So, I'm just getting started.
Yeah, and there's something about, me coming from a football background, there was something always about the way guys in the past train, the way they had the mentality, just the grittiness of it.
Yeah.
You want to be, obviously you want to be smart with training, you want to adapt with the times, do the things that are going to be the best for you, but at the same time, there's just no replacing that grittiness they used to have back in the day, whether it was football boxing, shoot, even MMA back in the early 90s, it's just those guys train and prepared a different way. And I think it's the best thing for especially athletes active today to take a little tidbits from the past, you know?
Absolutely. You know, that old school MMA mentality, you know, dudes walk around with rock revivals, wearing Affliction, you know, extreme couture stuff. Like, that's the type of stuff I want to bring back, that kind of vibe.
Love it, man.
Just that mean, that viciousness, you know, I want to try to bring that into every fight that I have. You know, every fight I have, I want to put on an exciting show. You know, obviously, being a fighter, you want to win and stuff. But, you know, I feel like we're only human beings. We put so much pressure on ourselves. You know, when I go into a fight, I want to put on a show. You know, obviously I want to get a win. That comes with it. But I want to give the fans what they want to see, and what they want to see is violence. So when I go in there, I'm trying to be as violent and as scary as possible.
Man, you're firing me up right now. I might need to come out of retirement myself, get into the combat sports, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Woo.
Kalani, you got something?
Well, absolutely. With the Jolly grind there, go for his knees. Go for his knees first.
It's always the knees.
Let's talk about you a little bit in your past before you got into fighting. So you went to Gorman. Obviously, I would assume there's a football career behind you. I hear that you were pretty good. What was the transition like playing on the gridiron and saying, something's missing? I want to challenge myself a little bit more. What was that like?
Yeah, honestly, MMA fell into my lap, and it was, to be completely honest, it was from depression. You know, when I was done, when I was done with football, you know, I committed to Cal Berkeley.
Okay.
The staff that I committed to got fired before I got there. So not only me has to deal with that, you know, a lot of athletes deal with that kind of political situation where they commit to a staff, the staff gets fired, they want to use the guys that they recruited, and then they get that kind of short end of the straw.
Yep.
Same thing happened to me. You know, I never really got the opportunities. I was working my ass off, and I kept thinking to myself, like, who am I doing this for? You know, this wasn't a sport that I ever wanted to turn pro in. I was just fast, you know. I ran a 4.3 40. You know, I was just a fast and explosive guy. Like,
did I hear that right?
Flag on the play. Yeah, I was in the military, so my hearing is not what it used to be. Can you say that time one more time?
I ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. I was fast, man. Like, I was really fast.
Man,
you could use that in your offense,
I could run
right?
a 43. I could run a 43, but not a 4.3. That is impressive, my brother. I tell you. Good Lord.
Good
yeah,
Lord,
I was fast, you know, so I was really confused. You know, I was confused. I thought that maybe, you know, I could have been used in the offense in some way. You know, maybe a couple plays would just get a first down or something.
With that kind of speed, you would think, Coach, put me in. I'll find a way.
Absolutely. So, you know, that wasn't happening, though. So I wasn't getting that opportunity. I was really confused. You know, I thought to myself, well, if I have to play football, I'd rather play at UNLV back home in Vegas and be like a hometown hero and stuff like that, you know? So I came back to Vegas. I was promised a scholarship, yada, yada, yada. Didn't happen. Walked on. Never got the opportunities that I got, and to me personally, I thought it was just God saving me and my body for the next chapter in my life that I had no idea about at the time, and that's fighting. So, you know, when I was done with football, I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, as most athletes would feel when they're playing a sport and then it's suddenly cut off and you don't know what to do, you know. I felt like I had no purpose. I was working at Adidas. I was trying to get my real estate license online. I didn't like that, you know. I was just trying to figure out, what do I like what could I do with my life? So I was interning as an assistant strength and conditioning coach here in Vegas. You know, I was working with pro athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, little kids, and some of the fighters that I was working out and training were some of the fighters I knew at Extreme Couture, because at the time I was training at Extreme Couture just to stay in shape, just to learn more about martial arts. And I remember just being 21, 22 years old, watching them put in the work, and I'm like, I miss being an athlete. I'm 22 years old, and why am I coaching you, you know? So I miss that work ethic. I miss that determination for an achievement and an accomplishment, you know, the drive.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket. I'm going to take MMA serious. I'm going to get some fights, and I'm going to see how far I can go in this sport, and now we're here.
I got to tell you, man, it's inspiring, because me being an Army vet, just like how you said, when you're done with a certain thing in your life that you've committed so much to, mentally, physically, spiritually, and then when you're done, now what?
Yeah.
Now where do I go? What do I get into? And like you said, well, maybe I'll try this. But then there's a higher power saying, no, that's not the path for you anymore. Switch it up a little bit.
Divine planning's better than human planning.
And oftentimes we ignore it because we're stubborn.
Yeah.
And we're hard-headed. No,
Absolutely.
this is what I'm meant for.
Yep.
No, just listen to me. Go this way. It's going to be a little rough at first, but you're going to find it. And like you, I see it in your eyes and I feel it when you're talking. That energy is now back, that competitive nature. And it can be in anything we do in life. You just have to find something that's going to say, okay, now let me not just get out of bed and go to work. Let me have a purpose in life. Let me chase a goal. So I love that you found it. And I wish more people in the world, brothers and sisters united, could all find it in life, man. So that is fucking awesome, man. Seriously.
Yeah. You know, when I was done with football, man, I went down a spiral of depression. I live in Sin City, you know, so it's easy access to go out, to drink, try drugs, all types of stuff. You know, I went down
and that's just at the gas station.
Yeah, it's down the street. So I went down that road, and it was dark. I didn't like the lifestyle I was heading towards. I'm thinking, I'm Ali's grandson. All this stuff is expected of me, and I'm sitting here doing this stuff. Like, what the hell, you know? So, you know, the reason I fight, I'm not fighting for no belt. I don't care about being a world champion. I don't care about all the money. You know, I fight so that someday I can help people that were in my situation or worse, where they don't know what road to go down. They don't know what to do with their life. They don't feel like they don't have a purpose. So the reason I fight is so that someday I could be a mentor to someone like that, kind of like Yoda.
Well, hopefully you don't get that old, short, and wrinkly, but we'll see. Griff, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're talking about your grandfather being Muhammad Ali. You talk, you know, you are born and raised in the fight capital of the world. Yeah. And you know, we talked earlier about how you said there's a ton of pressure on you just because of the name alone. But in a way, all that pressure, all the expectation, being surrounded in it and being immersed in combat sports, does it almost give you a little bit of a motivation, a push, like you're saying to yourself, so many things are aligned to where it's almost like destiny is pointing me to where I need to be.
Absolutely.
And I need to be, you know, you could potentially be the next, you know, generation, this generation's Muhammad Ali, where you're in combat sports and you're representing the city of Las Vegas. What does that mean to you to be from here, to be in the city where combat sports is such a huge thing? It's the home for it. What does it mean?
It means everything to me. You know, just like we were saying earlier. You know, divine planning is better than human planning. You know, I had all these plans and none of them happened. You know, and I believe that none of those plans happened for this next chapter in my life. And who knows, maybe this doesn't happen the way I want it. Who knows, you know, but I believe that this is the road that I'm supposed to be. You know, I'm at where I'm supposed to be right now. So, you know, obviously because of my name, you know, I was given an opportunity. I was signed with the PFL as an amateur. I had 5 fights, 5 knockouts with the PFL as an amateur. So to be an amateur fighter on, you know, that kind of stage, it's an opportunity that never happens. So these kind of opportunities obviously come with more pressure and stuff, but I believe pressure creates diamonds, and I invite all the pressure in the world, because the goal that I have is not to be have 2 belts or be a millionaire and all this stuff. You know, my goal is to be able to help people that were in my position or worse. So that's the reason I fight, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, follow-up question, you know, we'll get wrapped up here. I know you got a busy schedule. To the fighters fighting today, whether it's PFL, guys back in Bellator, UFC, who's fighting today that you really feel like you want your game to mirror a little bit? Every fighter, you know, they fight their own ways, their own style. But who out there right now would you say you could compare your style a little bit?
Ooh. My 2 favorite fighters are Justin Gaethje and Petr Yan.
Okay.
I love, especially Petr. Like, I love his style. I love his boxing. You know, these are 2 fighters I watch all the time, or I try to emulate. You know, obviously there's so many fighters to watch. You know, we got platforms now like YouTube, where back then, you know, you had tapes where you got to put in and then you got to rewind it and then all types of stuff. So, you know, we have YouTube, so now I could study all different types of fighters and what tactics and tricks that they use and implement it into my own. You know, I'll never be able to replicate fully another fighter, because it's like a signature. Everybody's handwriting and signature is completely different. But you could take that and you could implement it into your own game. That's why it's a martial art. You know, it's an art. So, I would say that those 2 fighters are the 2 that I watch the most.
Awesome, man. That's awesome, brother.
And who knows? Maybe there's a day where you're standing across from them. But first, February 21st, for the first time in history, PFL, Bellator, it's going to be over there in the other desert, but it's going to be fun. Watching on ESPN Plus, The Zone, February 24th, making a pro debut, representing. I got to tell you, man, this was awesome. Thank you so much. We hope to talk to you again down the road, man. Nothing but best wishes to you, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thank you again,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Main Event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Clowny Lua.
I'm Griffin Kemp.
Till next time, fight fans. Peace.
Hey.
Sin City, Saturday night, fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world.